Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into the world of budget smartphones with a look at a renewed Samsung Galaxy A6 2018. This phone offers some decent specs for its price point, but being a renewed model, there are some important caveats to consider. Let's unpack it all. This A6 packs a 5.6-inch display, a 16MP camera, and runs on Android 8.0. Under the hood, you'll find a Snapdragon processor clocked at 1.6 GHz, paired with 8 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage. On paper, that sounds pretty good for a budget device, right? Well, let's talk about the renewed aspect. The listing clearly states this A6 is a Sprint model, and if you're planning to use it with a Canadian carrier, you'll need to manually configure the APN settings to access LTE data. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with slower GSM speeds. This isn't a deal breaker, but it's an extra step you'll need to take. The phone ships in a non-retail box with a generic charger and USB cable. No headphones, no case, just the bare essentials. This is common with renewed devices, so it's not a huge surprise. However, the listing also mentions potential minor scuffs or scratches, which is something to keep in mind. You're essentially getting a used phone, so don't expect pristine condition. The warranty covers manufacturer defects only. Things like cosmetic damage, water damage, or physical abuse aren't covered. This is important to understand before you buy. If you drop the phone and crack the screen, you're on your own. Also, the seller emphasizes that the IMEI number will be checked against their records for warranty claims. Now, let's talk about the phone itself. The 5.6-inch display is a good size for one-handed use, and the 16MP camera should be decent for everyday snapshots. The 8 GB of RAM is surprisingly generous for a budget phone and should allow for smooth multitasking. However, 32 GB of storage might feel a bit limited these days, especially if you plan on storing lots of photos and videos. The Snapdragon processor, while not the fastest, should be adequate for basic tasks like browsing the web, checking social media, and light gaming. Don't expect flagship performance, but it should handle everyday use without too much lag. Android 8.0 is a bit dated now, and it's unlikely this phone will receive any major software updates. This is something to consider if you're someone who likes to stay on the cutting edge of software. So who's this phone for? It's a good option for someone on a tight budget who needs a basic smartphone for everyday use. It's also a good choice for a secondary phone or a backup device. However, if you're a power user or someone who demands top-of-the-line performance, this phone probably isn't for you. You're better off looking at something newer and more powerful. Before you buy, make sure you understand the limitations of a renewed device. It's not going to be perfect, and it might have some cosmetic imperfections. But if you're willing to overlook those flaws and you're looking for a budget-friendly option, the Samsung Galaxy A6 2018 might be worth considering. Just remember to factor in the potential hassle of setting up the APN for Canadian carriers and a limited warranty. Do your research, compare prices, and make an informed decision.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.